Since this is the first COP after Nagoya where CBD agree with the strategic plan until 2020, on this meeting is very important to maintain the momentum in order to create the adequate environment to support all the activities that parties have to do in order to fulfill the objectives of the convention and the strategic plan. So this includes an important step on resource mobilization, so developing countries in particular can do their job at its own place. And also this is a good opportunity to keep boosting the idea to have ratification of the Nagoya Protocol, because we need to have it in place as soon as possible in order to address the third objective of the convention, which is related to access to genetic resources.
Um, it's been very contentious, resource mobilization, and especially it's very critical for developing countries. What are your hopes as far as this aspect is concerned? What Mexico expects as far as the financial mobilization is concerned, so that the projects can be undertaken at a mass level?
Yeah, what we're expecting to see is a clear signal that it will be more resources available to do this. We are in a very important moment because the financial mechanism of the convention, which is the GEF, has programs by sets of 4 years. So in a couple of years is going to be, and this is the time now for planning the replenishment on the sixth reposition of Jeff. And that's a place where we need to be sure that it will be more resources, because by far all efforts in the world have been insufficient to fulfill even the 2010 target, who was to stop the rate of biodiversity loss worldwide. That's we still losing biodiversity, so we need more resources to enable developing countries to do this work. So we want to see a clear signal that efforts, rather than to be maintained or reduced, should be significantly increased. We want to see that as a result of today's, as last day of this COP, especially from developed countries. And of course with the compromise of all countries in general to do our job using also national funds from our Congress and from our government. So this is a mutual commitment that should be very clear and well established as one of the main outputs of this meeting.
Um, Country like Mexico, which is at a very critical development stage, um, and the country is also a mega diverse region in the world. How difficult does it get when you have to um, focus on economic growth, keeping in mind biodiversity conservation?
It's a very challenging situation because we are responsible since not only as a mega diverse country with a lot of biodiversity, but also many of these species are endemic, which means if they disappear from Mexico, they disappear from the world. And of course, as a growing economy, we need to enable the whole nation to enhance the quality of life of our people. And this is a direct relationship between the health of biodiversity and the welfare of people. So it's a challenge to maintain ecosystem services, to increase our protected areas, but also to promote more what we call green markets. So to use more of the potential, the natural capital we have into the big numbers of the economy. So while in one side we need to reduce any threats of biodiversity, including habitat loss or pollution or overexploitation, we need also to offer opportunities, and we're working very hardly on that. It's still a need. It's still a need for example, food security. In Mexico, it's a country of origin of many species like corn, for example, and it's a threat. It's a threat. It's a difficult situation because we need to increase our food production, and there is this risk on transgenic varieties that may pose a threat on the biodiversity and the health in general. So we need to be very careful. How are we doing this while trying to increase our food production and also maintaining our original varieties? Because in any case, in any situation, We need to go back to our basics and to maintain alive our traditional varieties where, where the new seeds came from at the end.
Um, Internally, to tell us what kind of regulations or initiatives have been taken up by the government of Mexico.
Well, it's been a very strong support in increasing protected areas and to promote sustainable use of wildlife. We are now in the process of updating our national biodiversity strategy. We have already promoted a number of workshops to identify from the 20 targets from Nagoya how are we going to address them. Unfortunately, in the last few years, there's been a significant amount of resources from our Congress for protected areas. We are about to have in December 1st a new government in place. So we are now in this situation to promote that biodiversity have a high level in our agenda that can be supported by political will and resources and human resources and with a wider participation of the society. The problem of biodiversity is a matter that should be social in general. I mean, this is not only a matter of the government. We need the help of scientists. We need the help of local communities to make very conscious about our mutual dependence.
How is the state of the participation of local communities and grassroots level NGOs in Mexico? Are there too many of them, or is there a hope that more and more such organizations come so that they work at the grassroots level?
It's still growing and growing every year, and I think that's a good signal because they are every year more and more participatory and also addressing some issues that uh, are beyond the capacity of governments, for example. And they are filling gaps, important gaps, and we're very happy to see these activities in many senses because NGOs and ILCs they have very different opinions. You may see some NGOs that are very strong in on very conservative actions, but also you see NGOs that are very conservative on livelihoods, for example, or to open to opportunities for local communities to make business. So it's a very interesting variety of point of views, which I consider all of them very valid.